If we look back in my last 15 years when I started, all the systems were proprietary, supervisors were direct connected, BMS hardware was proprietary, and the actual communications connecting controllers were proprietary as well. The next stage was standardization of the communications. Since 802.3 led the way in speed, BMS products and infrastructure products started to adopt it. So we saw versions of BMS hardware with Ethernet. With that, supervisors then got detached from the BMS hardware and put onto the communications network, giving them more flexibility. Supervisors, BMS hardware, and communications are in all parts of the open standard. But we saw a lot of open standards. Legacy standards like Modbus, MBus, KNX, LAN. They're not necessarily legacy, but they came out prior to the BACnet standard. But because BACnet is so tied to the Ethernet standard, it was very easy to use BACnet as the BMS protocol of choice. Then we fast forward to today where we're really talking about open systems and not standards anymore. An open system is where everybody's standard comes together under one umbrella. We see supervisors with N4 and BACnet communicating to BMS BACnet hardware, communications on the Ethernet with BACnet. And then we also see integration to Modbus, MBus, KNX, LAN, etc. So we see everything coming together under one system rather than multiple proprietary systems. And then to make it true open, we're bringing in legacy hardware with N4 drivers. So when we look at applications, we sometimes forget about to look at the physical media, how they're actually connected together. And maybe in the design portion of your BMS system, we should take more consideration of the physical media, such as Ethernet for the infrastructure and speed, RS-485 for flexibility and deployment, RS-232 for legacy and metering applications, and of course, wireless and the IoT and sensor networks. Pretty much anything with an 802.11 chip in it can now communicate via Modbus or IP back to the central network. And also you see a lot of Zigbee networks, wireless sensor Zigbee networks. Protocols also help define the application as well, because some protocols suit different devices better. Like for instance, energy meters are best suited for MBus because they're more battery friendly, and almost all energy meters are now deployed with a battery with a 7 to 10 year battery life. Modbus is the traditional protocol that kind of the first legacy IP protocol that came out. So you saw a lot of energy meters, chillers, CHP, fan coils, and package AHU, all in common. They all have powered devices. So the protocol doesn't have to be as efficient for those items. And then BACnet, of course, is just the latest, and it does almost all the same applications that Modbus does. And then you also have integration to DALI lighting systems, which again, another application requires a different protocol. So when we look at it, we have a flexible media deployment, whether it's twisted pair, whether it's IP, whether it's BACnet or Modbus or MBus, we all have choices now in deployment and finding the best wiring for the application to make the most cost-effective solution.